nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for everyone for coming, and this special meeting is to fill our vacancy, and it is wonderful that we have 2 people interested. It's great to see our government taking a turn in East Windsor, and it's wonderful. So, first would be public participation, so if we have anybody that would like to say anything, just do your name and whatever you need to say. Go ahead, Sarah.
Sarah Muska, 25 Maple Avenue. It was my honor to serve with all of you, with the exception of Mr. Lansner, but I'd like to welcome him to the board over the last 2 years. I was very proud to be a member of a board that had integrity, displayed professionalism, and had the ability to disagree while being respectful to one another when it came to the betterment of East Windsor. Tonight I wanted to say a few words in my support of John Simonelli to fill the Republican Board of Finance vacancy. John Simonelli has been an East Windsor resident for the past 34 years and has been extremely active in contributing to the prosperity and well-being of our community and its residents through his involvement in youth sports and organizing and participating in various town fundraisers and events. Recently retiring from ISO New England as the Director of Operations Support Services after 39 years of service, John was responsible for managing 46 employees and overseeing multiple budgets, including a $5.6 million operating budget. As you know, it is imperative that a member of this board thoroughly understand the budget process. With John's commitment, background, and extensive budgeting experience, I am extremely confident that he will be a valuable member of the Board of Finance while bringing a fresh new perspective, and I hope that this board will strongly consider appointing Mr. Simonelli tonight. Thank you.
Anybody else? Gil?
Yeah. First of all, I
Gil
want
Hayes.
Gil Hayes, Rice Street. First of all, I want to thank both candidates for volunteering. It's a thankless job. I've been there. I've been up front, and I've been also board of selectmen. And I've worked on many projects with Tom, and I'm here to support him. I'd just like to bring up the question that, while being on the Board of Finance, I know that the Board of Ed is our biggest department that we have to support. And my question is that there's a relationship between the chairman of, I believe the chairman of the Board of Ed and Mr. Simonelli. And so perhaps, in all fairness, he'd have to recruit himself on some of the occasions, or some of the financial things that come up, and it's like I'm just poking a bee's nest right here, but facts are facts, and you have to take that into consideration when you weigh out the 2 candidates. Just want to say that. So if it should arise where they have to recruit, and that's a big part of the Board of Finance in our budget. If he would have to recruit himself, Mr. Simonelli would have to recruit on some of the things that come up.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, John Burnham, 178 Scannick Road, East Windsor, Connecticut. Hey, well, I know both John and Tom. I know Tom very, very well. We worked together on other commissions, the river, the 250 anniversary. He would be my go-to guy. No disrespect intended, John, at all. I don't know you that well. If I ever have a problem in any board or commission that I'm on, and he happens to be in the room, I go to him. He's a valuable asset. My choice would be Tom.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Sauerhoff.
Joe Sauerhofer, 6 Pierce Lane, Broadbrook, Connecticut? Yes.
Scantic.
I would also like to support Tom Talamini. I've known Tom for quite a few years. We sat together on the board of, I don't know how many boards. Building Commission. The Building Commission, Tom is a huge asset. His construction background, I mean, he would bring that construction type and that analyzing part to, I think, your board where you could look into some of these projects and some of the stuff. I think he would be a huge asset.
Thanks. Anybody else?
I just want to make an addendum.
Okay.
May I? John Burnham, Scantic. So, no matter what happens here tonight, either Tom or John, please don't get discouraged. Please just draft into the next available position that's of importance. Thank you guys so much for stepping up.
Are you making an addendum?
I just want, I'm not making an accusation about what John or what character he would be on the board. It's just a thought that you might want to consider. And my apologies if you think it's personal, John. I only played cribbage with you once, so I don't know you that well.
Thank you.
No problem.
You really aren't going to make an addendum.
Could I just get a clarification? Is it East Windsor or Scantic?
Okay, keep on. Is there anybody else? Bob?
Robert Leach, 39 Church Street, Chairman of the East Windsor Republican Town Committee. As you may know, if you read your packets, hopefully you got it. On November 25th, the East Windsor Republican Town Committee endorsed John Simonelli as our endorsed candidate for this seat. Just wanted to make that known that he's the RTC candidate.
Anybody else? Are we all good? Okay. All right, so now what we are going to do is give each person an opportunity to come on, just answer a couple quick questions. I guess we'll do it alphabetically. John, you're an S. Tom, you're a T. So come on up, John. Don't worry, they're really quick questions. They're not like...
Any particular place you want me to hide?
No, right there. Wherever you're more comfortable, how's that? All right, so we do have your resume, so maybe though, if you can just do a really brief, quick synopsis of I know that Sarah kind of went over your work history and your time, so just your quick synopsis of your work history and your time in East Windsor.
Quickly, I'm an electrical power systems engineer, and the 39 years I've spent was all in the utility industry. 20 years were long-range planning, which in that business is looking out 20 to 40 years, because if you're going to spend $1 billion on a power plant or a transmission line, it's not something that it's a 3-5 year project. It's 20 to 50 at least. In the last 20 years, I was in the operations center, which it's the company that runs the power grid for all of New England. So 24/7 on call. You have to make decisions quickly. You have to analyze facts. There's not a lot of time to fool around when keeping the lights on is the important part of the job. So I have a technical background, and as my career developed, I got into management, which is where I got my staff and my department. And that's where I got all my exposure the last, say, 15 years to the budgeting, training, consultants. I had to hire consultants at some point because there's just not enough people in our business anymore. So kind of saw the whole side of it. So, I saw the vacancy, decided it's something I thought I could help out with kind of the whole massive change going on in East Windsor. Thought it was maybe a good time to move away from some of the other stuff I've been involved in and start supporting the town government.
Awesome. Well, you answered question 2, which was briefly explain what made you interested in this position, with question 1. So I'll go on to question 3. How has any of your previous involvement in appointed or elected offices prepared you for the diversity of perspective necessary to serve on the Board of Finance?
Not so much in the town, but in my professional career. I've had to represent New England as a region at the federal government, Department of Energy, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, so I've had to be involved in representing the people of our region with the United States government, basically. So that's been most of my governmental exposure. Haven't really been involved in East Windsor's government per se. Like I said, mostly I was youth sports, volunteering. I'm your shelter chief, so if we have another freak Halloween storm of 2011, I'm supposed to open up the high school and have you all live there for a while.
Let's hope not.
And I hope not either, because it's kind of a scary thing. So yeah, I've had to testify in front of the government too in some committees. So that's kind of been at a very high level. So I'd like to get a little more grassroots now that I'm retired.
Those are my questions. Does anybody have anything else? They're just my brief ones, so we do have the application and everything, so that's great. All right, awesome. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Talamini?
Good evening.
Hello. So, you know the first question. brief history or
History?
synopsis?
I've lived in
time
town
and
my whole
time?
life, 60 years in town, and I've been in the construction field for 41 years, running million-dollar jobs, supervising anywhere up to 60 people with different trades and so on and so forth. I've gotten involved in town probably 6 years ago. I started coming to a lot of the selectmen meetings, and I've been to a couple board meetings, mostly all selectmen meetings, but I've seen how the town goes. I'm on numerous committees and things. I'm on the River Commission, Building Commission, or Building Committee, CIP, so I've been seeing how the committees work and commissions. What we do in CIP that, we try to get funding for things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I like to be on the other end of that if I could.
Great, and so what made you interested to?
To just this stuff, the next level
Yeah.
of all the other commissions. I'm on, zoning board of appeals and everything else, so I was just trying to go to the next level, just to see if I could be a little more helpful.
Okay, and that kind of answers the appointed and elected offices that have prepared you to?
Yeah, I've done a lot of different things.
Okay, awesome. Anybody else, questions for Tom? All right, wonderful, thank you.
Thank
See,
you.
it was painless, guys, painless. So we have your applications too, so. All right, so now actually is the time where it's time to talk about each candidate and decide where you, as a board, would like to go. So I guess, Tom, well, maybe I'll start with Bill. Tom's brand new at this. That kind of would not be fair.
I appreciate the both of you putting your applications in. I appreciate both of you come from a background where you have budgeting and building and real world experience in the blue collar trade, which I think a lot of this town is blue collar. There's a lot of things we do in this town that require that depth of knowledge, and I think you're both very well qualified, and we have a decision to make.
Karen?
Well, I'm glad to see more than one person actually was interested in it, and, goodness, you both seem very qualified, so it's going to be hard.
Tom?
I agree with everything that's been said so far. It's great to see people stepping up. We certainly need experience, and both of you have different but both strong sets of qualifications. So I think we're going to have our work cut out for us this evening. But again, I thank both of you for your willingness to join us in some form or another.
I suppose ditto wouldn't do it. I'm about a year and a half new to East Windsor government, and I've seen both of you at different meetings. It's thank you for giving us a hard choice.
All right, so, and just so you both know, Jason is here, who is also notary, so whoever does get voted on tonight will be to our next meeting at 7 o'clock. So, all right. Do we have a motion who we would like to put forth? I can't, it's gotta be somebody out there.
I'll move we nominate Tom Talamini to join the Board of Finance.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor of putting Mr. Talamini into the vacancy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you, John. All right, so we can actually have a motion to adjourn until 7 for our regular meeting. Is there a second? All those in favor?
I don't like Tom brings them out with a screw top.
There you go.
Oh, that's a paper towel.